You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Jennifer Loading. Whether you are starting a project, starting a business, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And I am shaking things up today. I thought, you know what we're going to do today? We are going to do our mantra first so we can get this thing started. And then I'm going to welcome my guest on here. So it is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing. Be you, do you. All right, I'm super excited to welcome Regina Diann to the show, the Starter Girls Show. Welcome, Regina.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. It's awesome to be here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to tell our listeners a little bit about you so they know who we're talking to and who we're going to get to hear from today. You guys are going to love her. She's amazing, great energy. Like the first time we met, I'm like, I'm one of those people attractors that feed off of energy. And so when I meet somebody who has matched energy, like I love it. And she has just got incredible energy. So I'm super excited to get her on here. So Regina is the world's leading mindset and wealth strategist, working extensively across the U.S. and internationally. She is a #1 international best-selling author, creator of the Wealth Builder's Blueprint and Total You Elevate Personal Mastery. Regina has a bold yet gentle approach that challenges the status quo. She equips women and small businesses with the necessary systems and strategies to not only survive, but to thrive in today's economy. Her coaching techniques empowers her clients to open and awaken new realms of abundance. As an accredited investor, a licensed producer, and intuitive abundance coach, she's impacted over 120,000 lives and now shares the techniques and strategies she's mastered over the last 20 years. So I'm super excited to get you on here, Regina. Welcome to the Starter Girls podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun. Yeah, see her back there? She's going. We're going to have fun today. I'm telling you, we're going to have fun. So, Regina, I want to jump right into this, and I want you to share with us, how did this all come about for you? Like, how did you get where you are right now?
It was life. It was a lot of life experiences and unplanned detours. And sometimes it's, where we end up in life is not necessarily what we planned, or maybe it is. It just looks differently than how we thought it would look, or it came about differently, or how we thought it would come about. So where I am today is a direct result of the most devastating and traumatic time of my life. It was the darkest of nights. It felt like an Arctic chill. And honestly, it was hard for me to see my way. It was hard for me to see this moment. It was hard for me to breathe. It was hard for me to stand and exist every day. But luckily and thankfully, gratefully, I was able to find a way to move again from that darkest, deepest pit that I was in. And I chose to take that pain and that devastation and turn it into something that was purposeful. And that's where I am today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's so interesting. Today, when I was on another show, I was talking about how people make significant change when they are either pushed by pain or pulled by a longing. And so I talk about this often, that when we get pinned against the wall, that's when we make change. That's when we recognize that it's like, where are we going? We going here? Are we going here? And we have to do something. So I always love hearing these overcoming stories, because I think they don't define us, but they propel us to make change. And it's so neat when you can take that change and use that for the betterment of people, turn that around and help people be better. So I love this. So in talking about this, tell us exactly what you do. Like, give us some food here for our listeners, like what you do, what you help people with, and what kind of makes you unique about what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I help my clients create and receive the life that they've always dreamed. And sometimes it's not just creating, but are we really open to receive? So opening those channels to receive, right? Because receiving is actually a muscle. And so what makes me unique is, even though I'm in the financial literacy phase or the wealth building phase, not many people combine actual systems. I'm not talking about a strategy of what to do. I'm talking about the overall, let's dig in, let's put the infrastructure and foundation in place that you lay strategy on top of. So I wellness side, which is the spiritual, the mindset, and the emotional part that's attached to building wealth. Now, when I ask most people about wealth or money, and I ask you what type of emotions do you have associated with money and abundance, like that brings up all kinds of things. And so that's not something that most financial educators will typically combine with their work. And so that's really what sets me apart and makes me different.
I love that. And the mindset is so much of it. So you hit on some very important topics there, because I was just talking to another coach today that I'm working to get on the show. I'm excited about getting him on here. I love talking to coaches. I love being in this space because we all share very similar, we each do a little bit differently in how we deliver the message, but we all have the same kind of resonating message. You know what I mean? Of this, that it's not just one piece that makes you whole. It's a puzzle, and yes, and there's all these little pieces that fit in there that make the difference. It's like even when you're talking about let's talk about physical health, right? It's not enough just to eat healthy. That's not everything. That's a piece of it, but there's more to that. You've got to be complete. So I love that you're
maintaining those results is the mindset.
Yeah, I love that you're incorporating that all of that. So you're not just talking about financial literacy. You're talking about the holistic approach of, because you really can't, be wealthy if your mind is not in the right space. I mean, you've got to have all those capacities working there. And I even talk about that even when I'm coaching, these 4 quadrants, and time and money freedom is one of those quadrants. And when you're out of balance in areas, they're all out of balance. So I love that.
Exactly. I think we also say we know people who are wealthy who may have gained wealth, they lost it, gained it, they lost it, or even wealthy people that just forever hustle and grind to get more, like it doesn't fulfill the need. There's something that you're still seeking. That's because it's not about the wealth.
Right. It's not about the wealth. I agree with you.
It needs to be built in. So yeah.
Yeah, no, this is good. Let me ask you, this is kind of a fun question. And I haven't asked this one in a while, but I like this one. So when you were a kid, because I joke about this all the time, some people, I think when they're born, they just know, hey, I'm going to be doing this when I grow up. This is my thing. I got this, right? And the rest of us kind of develop into that, like they evolve. And some people, they are in their line going there, but they're just kind of trickling along. And I think the beauty of this is when you can recognize that everything you've been doing is getting you to where you need to be today. But when you were a child, did you think that you'd be an entrepreneur, that you'd be doing what you're doing right now?
Not exactly. Not exactly. I knew I kind of wanted to have a business, but honestly, when I first left school, I had kind of decided I would pursue the science because I knew I wanted to make a lot of money, but I knew I would go into the field of engineering. And so I did go into the field of engineering, and I thought eventually I'd kind of come up with my own creation, which, by the way, I do have an IP idea. So again, everything that I kind of dreamed and set out as a kid, it just looks differently. So yeah, engineering is a science.
That's so interesting.
So those same systems and that type of strategic thinking is what I use to build my signature course in the Reginas Book.
That's so interesting. And I see, this is why I knew I liked you. I studied accounting in college, so I was always good in math and science too. Those were my subjects. But, interestingly enough, I had this conversation today because I was talking about how your strengths find you. And even though I was good in those areas, very good in science and math, those were always areas I never really had to work hard at. Even in accounting, I didn't really have to work hard at until I got to tax law. Decided I hated that because that was memorization. But the thing is that, interestingly enough, as I've evolved, I've done a lot of, I did strength finders and I've taken some other tests, and they talk about, how you have things that you can work on discipline, you can work on being task oriented, all of that good stuff. But there are things that you were born with, traits that you were born with that are God given, and those are your strengths. And so interestingly enough, fast forward, I took a test not too long ago. I did 2 things. I did strength finders, and then I took another test. And what I recognized is that my 3 qualities were enterprising, creative, and social. Nowhere in there was their details. No details. It was enterprising, creative, and social. So funny, I had a guy on my show that does these tests, and he said, you don't need to be sitting behind a desk. You need to be out talking to people, freelancing, doing what you're doing. And so I think it's so interesting that you have that engineering background, because that means you're detailed and you're organized like I am. I'm the same way, detailed and organized. I just don't like spending a lot of time on that stuff, because when I do that, it takes away from the other things I'm really good at, the creativity the enterprising.
Right. That's one of the reasons I actually left, because, as long as I was traveling and I was able to have them clients and I was able to go and build things, see the results faster, I was great. But it's not for 9/11. They grounded a lot of travel and wanted to stick me in a lab. And I was like, oh no, I need out.
You're like, no, no cubicle.
Right, no cubicles. I wanted to see the results of my project. I didn't want a 10-year project, right? And so, yeah, I just decided to take a leap, and I knew I had some cash saved up, and I didn't have any kids at the time, and I went for it. And so I've been in this now for 18 years. So, woo-hoo.
I love it, girlfriend. I love it. I love it. So see, you're enterprising probably. That's why you're like I am. Like I can't get hung up on mundane. Like I need to see things moving, and I'm going to initiate. If it's not happening, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to initiate something. Oh no, wait. That's why I always say, when they talk about that when you're building businesses, like you got to have the initiator, the person that's got the ideas. You got to have the tech person, and you got to have the person that can like strategize, because they all do very different roles, And if you're doing one, you're probably not able to do the other. You know what I mean? So
or I'll hold the project up because I can get too into the details. I was like, no, I can reassign it. Let me give the overarching view, these high points. Don't put me on the details because you may not get me.
I love that, Regina. I love that. I love that. So here's a fun question for you. That's right. Here's a fun question for you. So who would you say has been your maybe greatest influencers?
Wow. Yeah, I thought about it. And, I would just have to say my environment was always been the greatest propeller, because coming up, I knew that everyone around me, I was raised by a single mom. My parents split when I was maybe like 8 or 10. And there was just a lot of poverty. There was a lot of broken relationships. There was a lot of just people being stuck and not seeing a way out. And even though I grew up in that, I just knew that there had to be more in life. And I knew that I wanted more in life. I didn't know how I was going to get it, but I knew I was going to pursue it. And so I ended up moving 700 miles away from my family, and I've been gone now for 20 years to create the life of my dreams. And so when I say that I help my clients create and succeed it, I'm talking about because I got to get it again. It's hard to coach some people through things that you have not done yourself. So how do you really create your own reality? So yeah, that's been my biggest driver.
100%. I think that's awesome. And I agree with you 100% on that. You can't tell people to go where you will not go or where you have not been. And that's what I think that is so important, even when you're doing a lot of this coaching stuff, because, it's those that people rally behind passion, and they rally behind people that can show them another way. If you've come out on the other side of that, and you can show people that, hey, you were on this side, you came out on the other side of that, I think people see that as authenticity, and they can get behind that. So I think that's awesome. I'm loving it. I love it. I think that's great. And you're offering these guys, whomever you're working with, you're offering this. Hey, this is what I've gone through, and I can show you this other side. You can have what you want to have if you're willing to do the work, you're willing to sacrifice, you're willing to put the energy. And let's get your head right so we can get you there, right?
Right. Yes. I have this saying that one of my mentors would always say, no one will do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. Right? No one will do for you. No one can do your squats. No one can do your push-ups. They can't do your curls. You have to do. I can help guide you. I can show you some shortcuts, but you have to do your own thing.
100%. And I think that goes so true when you're saying that, when you're coaching somebody and you're helping them devise plans and stuff, it really has to be their idea. It has to be their child, because yes, we can show them these things, but at the end of the day, are they buying into these things because they're ours? And so I'm with you 100% on that. Is so true. I love that. I love that.
And then on the other side, we have a tendency to sometimes make others' dreams our dreams, right? Sometimes we lose hope or sight of what was our dream. So I love the fact that you kind of ask, like, how did you get here? Because sometimes we see things and it looks glamorous, it looks glorious, or it looks fun, or, hey, that would be great to have, but is that your dream or is that someone else's dream?
Right. Absolutely,
So
100%. So this is a fun question. I didn't send you this one, but I know you can totally answer this. You're going to be fine. How would you, in your coach terms of who you are, Miss Regina, how would you define success? What does that look like for you?
wow, for me, and so this is again one of those individual things for me.
Yes.
Success looks like a mom who is present first, right? It looks like harmony in my life, right? And first and foremost, I am purpose to raise responsible adults, right? So success for me looks like being a mom who's present and knows what my children need. Success looks like a woman that loves and first nourishes herself, right? If I can put myself first, then I can serve and help other people. And I haven't always been that way.
That's beautiful. I love it. It's beautiful. And success is different for everybody, but I would agree with you on all of that. I think it's about balance. And not that we ever get to 100% of balance, but we're wearing many hats. Exactly. Yes. Harmony. Yes. Yes. Harmony. That is true. They're different words. You're right. You're right. Harmony, because you have to.
Sometimes I may have to give, like right now, I'm in a season to where, like, in my kids, but here's the deal. I had a conversation with my kids. So I'm up to make partner in $1 trillion industry. So, like, when you have a window of opportunity to hit a business successful like that, it's like, okay, you know what? Everything needs to go in pause right now. And 90% of the focus is here, but that's for a select period of time.
Absolutely.
Let's call the family table. Let's get on the same page. Are you guys with me? I'm with me. My kids say, go, Mom, go for the promotion. They're all behind me, right? But at the end of this season, then what? Okay, it'll look something different. So it's always a harmony. It's dynamic.
Yeah. I love that. I know you're right. It is. It's the short-term sacrifice for the big gain. And yes, you do. You know, I used to talk about this all the time, even when I was in my other company, about calendar blocking and how it's not really about quality, it's the quantity of time. So when you set aside the time to be, and this is good, we're in another conversation about how do you juggle family and as a mom working. The whole idea is that when you're with your family, that is quantity time, quality time with your family. And I love that you've got your kids on board so that you can have those conversations and say, Mom's doing this. This is important to me. This is going to be a short term, we have to make a small sacrifice for the big gain here. Are you with me? And I love that you're rallying them behind you, because it's 100%. And not only that, they're getting a piece of this. They're a part of this. You know what I mean? Like, they're a part of this win.
Right? And so that's another thing, like when you're grooming children, they're watching you. Children don't do what you say, they do what you do, right? And and so something I have not said is I parent alone. I was widowed a little less than 8 years ago. And so literally I practically had to raise my children by myself. And so, but when I asked my kids for this time to be more on business, my account is good. Like, right, their account, their love tank is overflowing. Why? Because there's some years and years and years that I spent pouring into them and just being like almost at their beck and call sometimes, right? And so I have it in their account to ask for this request, right? And so it's just a juicy, delicious, dynamic.
I love it. I love it. This is so great. And this is great for our moms to hear, because this is something that some moms struggle with. Really, they sometimes don't understand that these, I always talk about, you got to, when going back to the self-care, taking care of you've got to have time to do the things you need to do for you, because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you have nothing to give, there's nothing there. And so I think this is so good, because it shows them that, yes, you can win, you can succeed. You need to make little small sacrifices, but rally your family behind you. Make sure that when you're with them, spend quality time, so that when you need to do the things you need to do, you can do them and not have the guilt. I love it. I love it. I love what you're doing. You're rocking it. It's awesome.
And, I love what you said, because there's always this thing of, can you have it all? Yeah, you can. Maybe not all at the same time, right? Maybe not as fast as you want, but you really can.
Right. No, I love that, and I agree with you.
So I started saying the thing, live life by design and not by default. So you're not in default of what happened. Everyone has had some type of devastation. Everyone has had some trauma, right? But you're not don't live your life in default of what happened to you. You could truly live it by design. You could truly create the life that you desire, right? It takes strategic planning, like you said, it takes some moving some chess pieces around, but you
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I would agree with you 100%. It's about choices and being mindful. Be mindful, right? I love it. All right, Regina, you're doing awesome things. I'm going to switch gears on you just a little bit. And these are my fun rapid fires. These are easy, easy. You'll be totally fine. They're fun. All right, so are you a morning or night person?
Morning.
I probably knew that. I could tell. You're like rocking. You're probably up ready to roll. I'm the same way. I'm up early every day too. Like I'm like conquering the day. I always say by noon, I've like got half my day rolling, you know? All right. All right. Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog.
Dog. Do you have a dog?
I do. We have a little Pomeranian, he's a little black Pomeranian, and we call him Teddy Bear.
Oh, cute, cute. We just got a new puppy last week, so we're going through the whole like puppy stage. I'm like, man, this is like having another kid in my house. Like my youngest is 16, so I'm kind of past all that baby stuff. I'm like, man, this is like having another toddler in my house. He's like, every 5 minutes, I'm like confiscating things out of his mouth. Rubber bands. This morning he had my flip flop. I'm like, can you just leave my things alone, please? So. We're having fun, but it's definitely work, I tell you. All right,
we went from like a 20-pound Rottweiler to a little 7-pound Pomeranian.
Oh my goodness, that is quite a change. Yeah, I've never had little dogs like this pup that we got her. She was 47 pounds. Like that's the smallest dog that I've had. I mean, I've had like, I have a Catahoula. I've had like big dogs. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, man, she's kind of little. That's like a little dog for us. So, but it's all good. All right. What would you say is your favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. I love Thai. That's my favorite food right now. Yeah.
I like Thai too. That Mexican, I like sushi. Those are probably my three that I really like. And are you a summer or a winter person?
Summer. Like, give me warm. Anything warm. Even cold.
Yeah, me neither. Me not so much either. I'm with you on that. And if Regina could be any character or superhero for the day, what would you pick?
My favorite growing up was like Wonder Woman. So, the last little truth.
That's so funny.
Also, working like a character, but like Xena the Warrior guy. Like, yeah, like I love it. I love like the little gladiator women. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. That's good. I haven't had anybody say that. When I do get the Wonder Woman, every now and then I get like a different. I had a Felix the Cat on here one time. I'm like, that's good. I have not gotten that one. I love this question. It's so funny when I do these rapid fires. I find out so many fun little like minute details about people. It's my favorite part is like finding out the fun details. So any last minute like little nuggets of wisdom you want to share with our audience? Anything you want to add or just kind of throw out there to our people? You got a lot of inspiring stuff, so.
Yeah, that one about just live life by design, and the main thing is just, be the creator of your reality. Like really right now, we look at what's going on in our country and in our world. It doesn't matter like what goes on around you. Don't allow outside circumstances to influence who you are and right? You should influence your external circumstances. So live life by design, not default, and just be the creator of your reality, right? Be the creator of your reality.
That's beautiful. I love that. And that's so true. That was good. That was good because there is a lot going on and that was just timely. I love that. So Regina, if our listeners wanted to learn a little bit more about what you're doing, your book, all of that, where do they come find you at?
Yeah, so mainly you can find me at reginadiann.com. That's DIANN.com. There's a link to my book, which is Live Beyond Devastation from Pain to Purpose. And that book is really to help you go into, not necessarily go into, but take the most painful parts that you may have experienced in your painful experience and turn them into something purposeful, right? That qualifies you to help someone. The fact that you made it out, right? There's someone who's going through something that you've been through, and they're just needing a hand up, right? Or just to shine some light to help them know that they can make it. And for those of you who are wanting to really up-level your game in your personal finances and really get the system there's a free PDF download again at reginadiann.com/BMMS. Okay?
Gotcha. That's great. That's great. Yes, and we'll when we get this aired out, I'll make sure that we put all this contact information in there so that they can
Yeah,
come.
and I'll be reaching out right this too. But yeah, that's just kind of a free take it, and I would love to kind of keep in touch with me. Let me know, how it's going for you. Regina Diann across all social media outlets. IG is Regina Diann.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Hi guys, let me know if you heard from me on Jennifer's show.
Yeah, I love it. So hang tight for just a second. So with that, I do want to tell our listeners, this has been great, Regina. It's been awesome. Loved having you on here. Like I said, love your energy. But I do want to say to our listeners, if you love our podcast, please be sure that you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you. And hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. And with that, I'm going to wrap up here with the final thought for today. So opportunities are everywhere. It's up to you to find them or create them and make things happen. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.